All right, so let's jump back into this. Remember, we are walking through Genesis, where God created man and woman, where God created marriage, because we're trying to combat this hyper masculine. I'm talking to men, right? And I know females have some issues that they're dealing with, and they have some wrong ideals about womanhood and wifedom and all of that of being wives and whatnot. And there'll be a time to talk about that. But I'm talking to men that we are combating this hyper masculine philosophy of what men should be as leaders in their home and in society, and what part women play in making that work well, and what part women play in making that go wrong. And what I've seen is this overemphasis when men talk about how women are messing up everything. That the quality of woman out there is the reason why, dating relationships and marriages are not working, and the quality of women out there is, and they'll just keep going. And what I would say to them is, I'm not even disagreeing and saying that they're wrong about a lot of what they're saying. But where I believe the challenge for me is that they are misprioritizing what their responsibility is and actually fixing the problem. Your responsibility as a man in fixing the problem of men and women relationships is not to talk to women. Primarily, it's to talk to men. It's to get in the faces of men and say, hey, bruh, I understand that women are acting like that over there, but what role do we have to play in it? And the reason why I say that is because that's the way that I see it happen in the scriptures. I believe that God created things in systems and in processes, and there's a reason why he put the man on earth first, and he gave man responsibility first, and he put man in charge first, because when things went wrong, he didn't want man pointing the finger at the woman. He wanted man to be able to say, you put me here first, this is my problem. So we looked at Genesis 2:15 last time. Genesis 2:15 says, then the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to cultivate it and keep it. That it is man's job to cultivate and keep the Garden of Eden. It's man's job to cultivate and keep his community. It's man's job to cultivate and keep his neighborhood. It's man's job to cultivate and keep his family. It's man's job to cultivate and keep the relations of men and women. It's man's job. Now, woman has a part in it, but man has been given a responsibility. How do I know that? Because in Genesis 2:18, where we're looking at today, then the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. Which means that the man does not have his best life outside of having a woman to help him. Why do I say help him? Because the next part of the verse says, I will make him a helper suitable for him. Now, I heard one time, some of these guys that people have been sending to me, the Anton Daniels, the Daily Wrap-Up crew, the Andrew Tates, and all of those. I heard one time on one of those panels, a man say, women are like children. They just over emotional and they don't know what to do, and you got to tell them what to do, and this and this and that and that.
I've always said that whoever you are at work is who you are at home, is who you are at church, is who you are everywhere you are. And so that's where they get the saying that if you're going to be late to work, then you're going to be late to church. And then they say you're going to be late to your own funeral. If people are not looking at the nature of what women are and that they challenge, again, I'm going to use Mr. Let Go's example. He says it often at times, and I absolutely agree with him that women are like children. If you notice, children, when they get to a certain age, they start testing you. They start doing certain things. They start overstepping boundaries. They start doing things that then require, and often at times children crave discipline. They crave correction. They crave to be set on the right path.
I know men and women who are like children, and that's why Nas's Second Childhood is one of my favorite records to think upon when it comes to sociological dilemmas. But calling women children totally takes the dignity away that God gave them in Genesis 2:18. He called them helpers. Ezer. A helper is a one who helps, a sucker. And if we look here at Genesis 2:18, look at this for me. The words, the Lord God also said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make for him a suitable helper, right? One who helps in hardship or distress, a sucker. And so if we look up that definition of sucker definition, it is assistance and support in times of hardship and distress. My kids are adding on to the hardship and distress. They are not helping me in the midst of hardship and distress. And do you know how much a woman who is walking with God, who is walking in her femininity, has to deal with in order to help a man through hardship and distress? Sometimes she has to think in a way different than he's thinking. Sometimes she has to confront him on his thinking. Sometimes she has to take the way that he's thinking and the way that she's thinking and submit to them finding the common ground of the best way to think. All I'm saying is that Genesis 2:18 gives women a whole lot more dignity and more responsibility than some of these internet gurus are.